Alright, so welcome to another video on emotions in music. Now this week we will be figuring out how to write music that sounds angry. Now there are many different types of anger, but in general we can describe most of them as being dark and intense. So the trick is to write music that also sounds dark and intense. And one strategy to get some of that intensity is to start with a faster tempo, somewhere around the range of 110 to 135 beats per minute. For our piece, I'm going to work with, let's say, 130 BPM. Next up, one of the simplest strategies we have for getting that dark quality that we want in our sound is to work with a minor key. Now, this is very simple. You just pick a minor key or mode that you want to work with and write an interesting chord progression. However, if you are new to this and need some help, I recommend checking out my playlist on harmony for composers. But for now, let's do something fun. Let's do A minor and C minor, then A minor again. And let's say, let's do E major. Now, if you want to go the extra mile, you can modulate to a new tonal center as a strategy to add even more energy. And I'm going to do this by simply copying and pasting my chord progression and then dropping the whole thing by 3 half steps. Now, if you're a music theory nerd like me and you want to know a little bit more about the specific strategy I just used to modulate, I've added an interesting and helpful link in the description of this video. But for now, let's give our chord progression a quick listen. Awesome, so now we have a solid foundation for our music with a basic chord progression and tempo that give the general vibe we want. However, we still need a few more layers before we can say this truly sounds angry. Basically, we need a few more layers that can help add even more energy to the sound. A few helpful options for this are a rhythmic bass line, an ostinato, and a fragmented melody. Each of these options help emphasize shorter note values, which in turn will help give our music a boost in energy, which does wonders for building tension and intensity in our music. So first up, let's focus on a bass line. Now, a rhythmic bass line is exactly what it sounds like. It's just a bass line with a simple rhythmic idea added to it. So to make one, we're going to start by just adding all of our root notes to the bass. Let's give this a quick listen. Let's smooth this out a little bit. There we go. Let's try this. Yeah, I like that one better. So all I did here is I had the root in all of the chords for the bass line except for the E major, which I put in second inversion by having the 5th scale degree, or B, in the bass line. So now that we have a simple bass line, we can make the whole thing a bit more rhythmic by just coming up with a short 1 or 2 bar rhythmic pattern that will just repeat throughout nearly the whole thing, if not the whole thing. So let's try, what if I do one of these? Try making these shorter. Yeah, I think that's it. So I'm going to take this rhythmic idea, I'm just going to apply it to all of these. Now that I've done that, let's give it a quick listen. And that's what I call good enough for now. Next, let's add our ostinato. An ostinato is just simply a short repeating rhythmic idea. They're very common in film music and are often used to add energy to a theme. Now, you can get as complicated with as you would like, but for now, I think I just want a simple straight rhythm, almost like a rhythmic pedal tone. So, since A minor and C minor both have C, we can just kind of add that up here for starters. In fact, you know what, let's just follow that same line. Let's go down to B, since E major doesn't have C. And yeah, why not? Let's just do the same thing up here. So I've got the shape of my ostinato. Next, it's just a simple matter of adding the rhythmic element. So for this, let's just do straight eighth notes. Like I said, something super simple. You don't need to get complicated with this stuff. Of course, you can if you want, but the main goal is just to add some more energy. So I'm going to, wrong folder. I'm going to use one of my presets to just add a little bit of variability. And you know what, let's make all of these a little bit shorter than eighth notes, just because that also adds a little bit more energy when things are crisp and quick. And let's give it a listen. Getting there. Still not quite angry per se, but almost. And our next step is to add a fragmented melody, which should help quite a bit. I should also mention that if you would like to learn how to make more complicated and unique ostinati for your own music, I once again have a video in the description that can help. But for now, let's write our fragmented melody. A fragmented melody is just like any other melody. The only difference is that it gets played in smaller chunks with gaps in between. For example, let's get these out of the way by moving them up an octave. We'll make some space for our melody, and let's just come up with a short idea for measure 1. Let's do something longer. Eighth notes. Let's do eighth notes because short notes help add energy. Let's say A minor. Let's go with C because C is the third and it helps give it a nice minor quality. The third, the middle note of a chord, is what is responsible for the emotion of the chord. So let's do C and then let's just do something quick here. All right, let's come down to beat 1 is C, that's a chordal tone. Beat 3 should also be a chordal tone. If you want to learn more about writing melodies, once again, I have a playlist and a couple of videos in the description. I'm saying that a lot lately, aren't I? But it's because I'm trying to keep these videos on the shorter side. And then let's drop the bass line. And then we'll drop this top line to make even more room for the melody. And here we have a nice little idea. Excellent. Next, we want to add a little bit of a gap because, again, this is a fragmented melody. It's going to play a short idea, rest, then play another short idea. It's up to you how long you want to wait. But for now, let's just say that we'll skip measure number 2 and then re-enter on measure 3. Here, I'm going to just simply copy and paste the original idea, but I'm going to add a little bit of variation. Let's see. Let's change this last note. Let's go to C, shall we? I'll have to take this top line, though, and move it down again. That's okay. There should still be room. Boom. Yep. And we're moving lower, so that'll make it sound darker as well. And let's give it a listen. Sounds about right. It's sounding a bit muddy at the moment, and I don't care much for that mud because I think the chords are going too low. But that'll be something we'll fix with the orchestration. For now, we're just sketching the idea. So we've played our initial idea, we've repeated it with a slight bit of variation. The next step is to skip another measure and add a new idea. This is called sentence structure. Once again, I have a video in the description explaining it. We've got F sharp minor. Once again, let's go with the third, shall we? Because the third helps add color. Like I said, we'll just do a quarter note. We went down. What if we go up? What if we get the same basic idea, but we go up? That is a C sharp. Let's try going, yeah, F sharp. Let's try to do the same idea, but in reverse. And then let's do one of these, just a simple, a nice little statement to round it off before we get a cadential idea, which is just, and that is A minor. So those need to come down to C natural because A minor has C natural, not C sharp. And then we'll end the whole thing with a simple cadential idea. Means we just want a simple idea. Let's do C sharp. It's just a simple idea that can end the whole thing. I like that. All right, so it's not a strong exit, but I don't want too strong of a cadence. I want it to sound like I can keep going. So let's listen to the whole thing before we wrap it all up with an orchestration. And with that, we have a simple sketch of an idea that can work well for angry music. The last step is to just orchestrate the whole thing, and this is where everything really starts to fall into place. You can use any style that you'd like, but for the most part, to help get that dark quality that we need, we want to emphasize heavy and low sounds. So for the orchestra, I'm going to recommend that you emphasize the brass section, and that you just make sure each section of the orchestra, the strings, woodwinds, and the brass, each have at least one instrument playing the bass line. And with that, we have reached the end of another video. I hope you found it helpful. If you're interested in learning much more about writing emotional music, I do have a brand new class all about emotions in music that you can find in the link in the description below. The class lasts for 6 weeks and includes articles, videos, and live lectures that go in depth on everything you need to know about writing music that perfectly captures emotions. This is the very last week that you can enroll in the class before it closes until the end of the current session. There are a few more spots available, so make sure to check it out if you're interested. I also want to say thank you to my wonderful patrons who have made videos like this one possible. This week, a special shout out goes to my newest patrons, Kurt and Gregory. I'm grateful for your support. So until next time, my friends, keep studying, keep working hard, and keep writing new music.